You want me to put that on my todger?
This One's Wife. 8 ways she will transform your life. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. Many of you have avoided being tainted by the blandness of This One's Wife's new lifestyle programme. You safely utilised your glorious narrator as a barrier between you and the shitty show that has been broadcast on Netflix. What you may not have realised, however, is that whilst you've enjoyed the chocolatey velvety tones of your glorious narrator, ridiculing this programme and also demonstrating the various ways in which her narcissism is writ large, you actually missed out on 8 ways that This One's Wife will transform your life. Yes, you didn't realise, did you, that This One's Wife is really a fairy godmother who has been sent to this planet to wear beige and white, to float around somebody else's kitchen to ensure that your life is transformed. Courtesy of Guy Kelly, who writes for The Telegraph, there are 8 fundamental tips that come out of the programme. The first is put your friends to work. Now that's hardly a surprise, is it? After all, she's a narcissist, and therefore the friends who are non-intimate secondary sources are there to be utilised by her purely as stage props. She's not interested in genuine friendship with them. She's only interested in what they can provide vis-à-vis the prime aims. They're easy to control because they're favourably inclined towards her. They provide her with moderately potent fuel, and large amounts of it when they're interacting with her in person. She can gain character traits from certain of them. For instance, she can try and pass herself off as a chef when she's dealing with an actual genuine chef. And there's the residual benefit, which is the facade management, namely, see, I do have friends, I'm not a horrible bully that most people can't stand. Accordingly, these friends are just commodities that are being used by This One's Wife. They're stooges that are set up to basically go, that's gorgeous. Wow, how did you do that? Ooh, you're so stylish. Unfortunately for her, it's so transparent it doesn't work unless you are a dim-witted sugar. But also, it provides the opportunity for Guy Kelly to observe that This One's Wife utilised Daniel, her makeup artist, who has been the makeup artist since before times. You'd have to hope that he was briefed that he'd have to sing for his supper. It's not guaranteed, though. My thing is surprising people, This One's Wife says, like a willowy Jeremy Beadle. We've just watched her pour half a ton of Himalayan sea salt in a mason jar, then put it with some truffle popcorn and peanut butter pretzels, all for the guest bedroom Daniel will enjoy. In her real house, for reasons never explained. This is a farmhouse down the road. Daniel lives in New York and probably wants to relax. He must be exhausted from the travel and being asked if he's ever going back to MasterChef. Besides, he and This One's Wife have known one another forever. They should catch up. No. They will be brewing an elaborate honey tea, then baking a honey cake, then making beeswax candles. Daniel musters some enthusiasm, but goes through entire sections simply agreeing with whatever This One's Wife says, which of course is precisely how This One's Wife wants a non-intimate secondary source. Compliant, supine, easy to control, and pumping out the fuel, there to make her look good. Every time I leave your house, I gain like £10, says Daniel while eating peas. £10. I'd reckon more in the region of £20,000. The candles almost break him. They should take 3 or 4 hours to set, he's told. 3 or 4 hours? Daniel gasps, breaking character. Where do you have to go? This One's Wife responds. He is silent. Yeah, that's what she thought. Now, back to work, damn you. This is a theme throughout the series. Friends come round, perhaps expecting to be doted on by their multimillionaire Duchess friend. Then suddenly they're deboning a cod or making ladybird cakes for a children's party at which all the children are invisible. If Netflix was smarter, it would have included Come Dine With Me style in-taxi reaction monologues as the guests go back to LAX. Yeah, so I might have misread the email, but I sort of thought it might all be done. I've just spent 4 hours salting a fish. I don't even like fish. And Prince Harry wasn't even there, and it wasn't her house, so I couldn't even snoop. Also, she's given me a party bag, but it's largely soil, so yeah, 2 out of 10. The second tip is, if in doubt, put edible flowers on it. This demonstrates the superficiality of this one's wife, whereby she sees that the only way to make something look better is put edible flowers on it. Children's snacks? Put edible flowers on them. Donuts? Put edible flowers on them. Ice cubes? Put edible flowers in them. Fried egg? Yeah, go on then. It's unclear whether this one's wife had a bumper order of edible flowers she needed to get rid of, or if she truly thinks nasturtiums are the third seasoning, but it's her calling card. She must be absolutely incredible in a wedding confetti tunnel. A highlight comes in episode 5, Surprise and Delight, which sees her old muckers, Abigail Spencer and Kelly Zaffron, come over to do a shift in the This One's Wife workhouse. We connected, here she is with that word again, as a friend group, which is so interesting, This One's Wife says incorrectly. It doesn't happen often, she adds, also incorrectly. It's a little like the dynamic between the 3 blonde women in the new White Lotus series, except real. Do you like to cook alone? Spencer asked This One's Wife at one point. If only. Over lunch, Spencer briefly chokes on her food, which adds a rare moment of jeopardy not seen in the series since Daniel cut his finger on a tomato. Want something to drink? This One's Wife says in the next scene. Of course she does. Anything. She's choking. Oh my gosh, what are those? Spencer says. It's the floral ice cubes. If you weren't choking before, Abby, well. The third tip is, if you think he knows too much, have your dog disappeared. This one's wife has a lapdog named Guy, although of course we all actually know him as Harry. He follows her wherever she goes, consumes whatever she delivers him, and looks weary and weary every time he's wheeled out. But enough about the writer. The Duchess also had a lovely old beagle called Guy. He was with her before, during and after her life changed. Guy has a lot of stories to tell, This One's Wife says in one episode, to which the publishing industry surely perked up. But she was safe in the knowledge that he would never be able to reveal his secrets. Tragically, Guy died under no suspicious circumstances earlier this year. In fact, curiously, he died just a few days after the internet was abuzz with news that dogs can communicate with humans via a series of buttons. What? I'm not accusing anyone of anything. It's just interesting. That's all. Tip 4 is, you cannot be bored by a vegetable board. If you think crudités have already come up a lot, just wait until you see how many times This One's Wife can bring them up in 4 hours of content. Raw vegetables on a platter appear in more than half the episodes, each time accompanied by a tutorial on how it's really all about presentation and variety and, things do not need to be perfect. They don't. Honestly, just, okay, no, not like that. Look, let me show you. Barely a day goes by without there being a crudités platter with This One's Wife, and this once again demonstrates the lack of originality of this narcissist, that she can't come up with anything new, she can't come up with anything ingenious, she has to keep relying on raw vegetables on a platter, put out in a particular way. Tip 5 is to have magical helpers who do all the work. As I pointed out to you previously, This One's Wife and Mindy Kaling went out to the summer house and everything had been set up. This One's Wife didn't do it. Who did? Magical Umpa-Lumpers? Fairies? Elves? We should be told. But once again, this demonstrates the fact that This One's Wife, like so much that she does in her life, guided by her narcissism, is all about not putting the effort in. She goes to Australia. I couldn't believe I wasn't paid for doing a walkabout. She set up ARO thinking that someone would just swoop in and go, oh, well, because it's associated with you, we'll pay you millions of dollars and we'll do all the hard work. Similarly, when it comes to her own television programme, you don't actually see her doing much grafting other than rearranging things on a plate. Somebody else, the magical unseen helpers, does it. And that is just again demonstrative of how This One's Wife behaves in respect of she's laziness. She's lazy and entitled. We're next told that no advice is bad advice. It's occasionally difficult to know who exactly this programme is for. People who like food and drink likely already know that the best way to make fresh mint is by using fresh mint. Parents or anyone who's seen the size of a child before are possibly aware that if you're including strawberries on a fruit board for children to eat, it's best to cut them up actually smaller. People who host lots of dinner parties are also most definitely aware that when it comes to hosting a meal, guests would absolutely expect that I would have something to feed them. Elsewhere, flower stems should be cut diagonally, and blowing at multiple balloons can really start to get tiresome on your cheeks. So instead, there's this great little device that you can buy. It's a balloon pump. And who, other than a hospitality expert, would know that menus are good? Because you don't want to be constantly asked, what's that? What are we eating? It's all good advice, but mainly for people who've just been released from a whole life order, who have been reincarnated as a human after a lifetime as a pigeon. Or, in this instance, vacated the British royal family. And again, this demonstrates the absence of emotional empathy of this one's wife and her patronising nature. She thinks she's being helpful, and she doesn't realise that when she keeps stating the obvious and that people can see it, it makes her look stupid, but she's completely oblivious to it. Her narcissism causes her to behave in this pretentious, condescending, high-handed manner where she thinks she's imparting actual knowledge. Witness the number of times she's told us something that's really obvious, and she looks as if she's just given you the cure for cancer. Superficial. She really is. Apparently, the next tip is, to transform your life, the best way to appear chilled out is to be aggressively chilled out. She throbs with forced relaxation in a way that unsettles from the first moment. I'm just winging it, so says a chalkboard on the fridge. This tightly scripted reality show is directed by one of the best in the business and is widely viewed as this one's wife's last chance to revive her career. But still, she's winging it, which demonstrates once again the disconnect between the way that this one's wife sees herself and how everybody else witnesses her. We know it's scripted. We know that they've done take after take after take, but she wants to make it look like she's winging it. We all know she is not. And ultimately, tip 8 is, it's the thought that counts. Yes, that's going to transform your life. If you're ever invited to this one's wife's house for a meal, which you may well be, as if this gets recommissioned and recommissioned, we all will, like jury service, do not bring a gift. You'll need the space in the car for what she gives you. Daniel gets the candle he slaved over, plus what's left of the lorry load of salt dumped next to his bed. Kaylin gets one of those insane party bags for her children, who better be in need of trowels. Waters receives jewellery. Vicky Sai gets an enormous basket of fresh fruit and vegetables. Oh no, you made me another one, says the beauty magnate who sold her company to Unilever for $500 million. This basket, it turns out, is what this one's wife likes to give to everybody. She essentially runs a Riverford-style veg box company but asks for nothing in return besides lifelong fealty and perhaps a little seed funding. Accordingly, she thinks that she's being thoughtful when she does all of this, but again, because she's a narcissist, it's just a form of bribery. And one, as the reaction I've just read to you there, is something that's not particularly welcome, as she keeps dumping stuff on people, whether they like it or not, because of her absence of boundary recognition. These 8 tips to transform your life, whilst tongue-in-cheek, are demonstrative of the way that this one's wife truly thinks that she's doing great things. This is the mindset of the middle range narcissist that she is. She thinks that she's helping. She thinks that she's doing good things. But in actual fact, it just demonstrates that she's unwelcome, boundary-intruding, that she's high-handed and condescending. None of these things will transform your life, but this one's wife, with her magical thinking and high level of delusion, believes that they will. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.